Hey guys, back with another video. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into Genesis chapter 49. So I'll give you guys some time to get your Bibles out and follow along. If you guys like the videos that I'm putting out and like the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to hit that notification bell, you can, and I will, and you will be alerted when I come out with newer videos. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Genesis chapter 49. All right, Jacob's blessings. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, "Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob. And hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. Then defiledst thou it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret. Unto their assembly mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed by their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion he shall rouse him up. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall a gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his asses colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strength by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors. Unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills thou shalt be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. Death of Jacob. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is it that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, every one according to his blessing. He blessed them, and he charged them, and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed, and yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. That was an interesting chapter. It kind of refers back to Revelation, where it talks about the tribes, but Revelation's at the end of the book, so we'll get into that a little way long in the future. But it just goes through, how Jacob, the story, end of the story of Jacob, and it talks about how, some, he talks about Jacob's sons, and when I refer to he, I mean God, and he talks about Jacob's sons and how it seems like, I don't know, it seems like it says right here, gather yourselves together and hear ye, sons of Jacob. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defiledest thou it. He went up to my couch, Simeon and Levi are brethren. So he's saying, Simeon and Levi are brethren. So brethren means you gather amongst your brothers, not necessarily your blood brothers, but like as a group of men, they gather together, right? But it says here, God says about Reuben, he says, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. But then he goes to say, unstable as water, thou shalt not excel. Right? So he's saying, he's giving his accolades and he's giving him praise, of his strength and dignity and power. But he says he's unstable as water, right? So, and he says, thou shalt not excel. So, and then he goes on to say about Simeon and Levi are their brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations, O my soul. Come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor. Be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed by their anger, for it was fierce, in their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So he's saying, Simeon and Levi, they're brethren, but they have instruments of cruelty in their habitations, right? So it's very different, okay? It's very complex, right? Because on the other hand, God gives these tremendous gifts to Reuben, as he says, "Thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, excellency of dignity and excellency of power, unstable as water," right? And so he's saying that, it's very complicated, and I'll try to, explain it all. But I mean, it's very blunt, but it actually, it's quite complicated, because on one hand, you have Reuben, that has all these good qualities, but then again, as you see, as in every man, there is a fault to him, and it is that he is unstable as water, right? And then he says he's unstable as water, but then he goes on to compliment Simeon and Levi and says they're brethren, but they have instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor be not thou united, right? So they will have brethren, right? They will assemble amongst men, but they will not be united. It's very complicated. And then we can all right, and then it says about Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Unto Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Right? So she's talking. So Sceptra. Okay, hold on. Judah is a lion's whelp, right? From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. So he's saying he rises up amongst his prey, right? And then he stooped down, couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Right? So it seems like Judah, he rises up amongst his prey, and then eventually he grows old and nobody can rouse him up anymore. But then he says, unto Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. So, with all them sons before him, and all those great gifts, but also those faults of them, and then unto Shiloh they shall be made as one, right? And then he goes on to he talks about Zebulun. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Okay, so he's saying here that Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, right? And he shall be for an haven of ships, right? So this is Zebulun is the master of the sea, right? And then he goes on to say, Issachar is a strong ass, couching down between two burdens. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. So Issachar is a strong ass, right? So he's strong, but he's an ass, right? Couching down between two burdens. So this guy, he sees somebody has a burden, and then somebody else has a burden, and he crouches down underneath those two burdens, underneath those two people, and it's used as a defense mechanism for him. You know, that's how he survives. And and he saw that rest was good. Okay, so when he survives under these two burdens, he saw that rest was good, right? And then because he's taking on these two burdens upon himself, right? And he's sharing them with the people. But then he says, rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear. Right? So he bows his shoulder to bear these unrighteous circumstances that he's going to have to go through, because this is what God made him for. And became a servant unto tribute. Right? That was Issachar. And then Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, right? Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. So Dan is a serpent, right? And he shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, right? So Dan's going to be a judge of the tribe of Israel, and but he's a serpent as well, right? So and so right. So if anything, he's the judge of a tribe of Israel, and he's a serpent too. So Dan, and Dan watches, and he sees, like a rider and his horse, right? That's going along doing his own thing. And if he sees that the rider and the horse is a threat to him and might kill him or anything like that, God gives Dan the power to bite the horse's heel so that the rider shall fall backward, right? That's pretty cool. And Gad, a troop, shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher. So Gad is a troop that shall overcome Dan, right? He's gonna be he's the only person that's gonna overcome Dan, right? But he shall overcome at the last. Though he's gonna be the last rider on the horse, right? So because everybody is defeated in one way or another besides God, Lord Jesus Christ. And that was Gad. And then out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. So Asher's got it good. He gets all the bread, he gets all the good food, and he shall yield royal dainties. So he's all the food, and he's gonna be living in royalty. And then Naphtali is a hind let loose, right? He giveth goodly words. So Naphtali is a person that is always restrained and hold back, but eventually God lets him loose, and he giveth good words to his people, And then Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bough by a well. So anywhere Joseph goes, this guy's going to be fruitful. And whose branches run over the wall, right? So, yeah. The archers have sorely grieved him. and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Right, so we just learned about the story of Joseph and how he was sold by his brothers, and God talks about Joseph, and he says that he is the ruler of the earth, basically, because he talks about how the archers, people who shoot bows, they shoot at him. They sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. Thence is the shepherd, from thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee. So, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors. So he's saying that Joseph is the ruler of all the earth. Is what God is saying. All right, and then last but not least, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. So Benjamin's, in the morning he devours the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil, right? So he's like Nimrod, the great hunter. He, he devours his prey and he divides the spoil. All right. And those are talking about the tribes that are gonna eventually rule the earth. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up for this video. If you guys got any questions or comments, put them down in the link below, or not in the link, but in the comment section below. And if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified when I come out with more videos. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. All right. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one.